I'm a creature and character creator for movies and television. I'm behind the scenes a lot, but you've probably seen some of my work in movies like The Shape of Water. I was part of an amazing team that brought this creature to life on screen. And if you've seen the movie, the dark fantasy directed by brilliant Guillermo del Toro, you're familiar with the main character, the misunderstood amphibian man who was seen as a hideous beast by some and a thing of beauty and wonder by others. Personally, to me, bringing this character to life paralleled so many aspects of my own life. People always ask me where I get my ideas from for my personal creations and what drives me. And especially when they meet me for the first time, they kind of get a little surprised because my work tends to be on the dark and mystical side. And in real life, I'm very cheerful and happy and always smiling dude. So yeah, but I think that creativity can come from many places and sometimes dark places. I choose to find the beauty in everything in life and especially the hard things in life. I grew up in a family of 5 kids in St. Petersburg, Russia. Since a very young age, my parents instilled a very deep appreciation for art and culture in me. I remember I would visit museums and art galleries on a regular basis. Um, and the country was going through tough times, going through social and economical struggles. And I remember it was being tough, really tough at times. But my family would always find a way to find joy in life. I ventured into all kinds of creative channels. I made my own mechanical toys, electrical toys. I tried to study archeology, ethnology, classical art. My curious mind even led me to explore biology, chemistry, and martial arts. And I've always escaped through books, movies, and video games because it's kind of the same for every young kid, whether you're growing up in Russia or Canada. You get to be somewhere else, dream, even just for a couple of hours. It's still amazing. And I guess those imaginary escapades are the thing that really sparked my interest in visual effects. In 2004, I got my first 3ds Max book, and I started teaching myself all things 3D, 3D modeling, dynamics, animation, everything I could get my hands on, studying it. And a year later, I graduated from high school and art school and moved on to University of Cinema and TV to study animation program for the next couple of years. I've always had this insatiable appetite to learn new things and experience new ideas. And unfortunately, the strict parameters of the curriculum at my school were holding me back. The creativity on conventional terms was rewarded while true creativity was punished. It really sucked. And I remember I didn't let me feel defeated. Instead, I saw it as an opportunity and a mark to start something new in my life, go on to my new adventure. So I decided to learn English and move to Canada where my creativity could flourish and I could really unlock my full creative potential. So I couldn't afford the tutor at the time, so I started consuming all things English. I literally surrounded myself with English atmosphere. I was reading books, I was watching movies, I was listening to music. I was talking to myself out loud in English on the street, getting those weird looks from people. But, I even taught myself to think in English, and it got confusing at times. But it paid off. In about 9 months, I passed my TOEFL test, and I was ready to go to Canada. And that part of my life was something I got really obsessed with because, well, I applied for the visa and I got rejected. I applied for visa again and I got again the rejection. So by the third rejection, people around me started telling me, man, you have to give up and do something else. People thought that I'm being sadistic to myself by trying to pursue something that was not possible. And to be honest, I remember it almost brought me down. But I sat down and I thought to myself, do I really want this? And the answer was a definite yes. So then the true question came. Have I done everything in my power to achieve the goal that I want to achieve? And even though I felt like I've already gone above and beyond what was humanly possible, there was a teeny tiny voice in my head that was saying, yes, you've done a lot, but not yet, not everything. So it was enough for me to keep pushing. I took a different approach, and I finally got my visa. So, thank you. And the new chapter of my life started here in Canada. In 2011, I started a digital animation program at Centennial College. And a year, yeah, it was amazing. And a year later, I graduated and moved on to Crush Incorporated. And I worked on many projects in there. I did dozens of commercials, did some neat projects like TIFF opening sequences and cans, lines, visual sequences. Around the same time, I kept on learning new things, new skills, and I learned digital sculpture in ZBrush. I learned clay sculpture. I learned anatomy, drawing, painting. Again, everything I could consume, I was doing it. And in 2015, I moved on to Spin VFX, and I landed my first movie gigs in there. And in 2016, I started working as a senior creature and character artist at Mr. X. And in there, I got to work on some of my dream jobs, like The Shape of Water, of course, or Godless, Train. Currently, I'm working on Hellboy. And frankly, I'm wondering what's going to be my next project. I bet it's going to be exciting. I'm also a part-time professor here at Centennial College. I teach digital animation and DVFX programs. And even though I've been in this field for quite a while, I still get this feeling of awe whenever I get to work on something new and exciting. And whenever I see this sparkle of genuine interest and wonderment in the eyes of the new students, I get so excited myself. It really charges me up with this creative energy. I want to go home and create more. And I guess some would say that I've been successful in my field. To be honest, I have a little bit of a different definition of success. To me, true success is finding what you're passionate about and then giving yourself a permission to follow through on that. And it can be anything, really. True success comes when you give absolutely everything to achieve your goal. Everything. And you know, it can be learning a new language or moving to a different country. It doesn't have to be just about your career goals. Many people are curious about what inspires me and how my creative process works. I guess, like everything about me, my creative process is a little bit all over the place. I find inspiration all around me. I watch movies, I flip through magazines, I go through the Instagram feed, attend art galleries, museums, and so on and so forth. But probably main source of inspiration for me is seeing the work of other artists, being inspired by them, and sometimes even collaborating with some of those artists. Often we mistaken the actual career skill or the craft for the end goal. And that's not entirely correct. People often think that if you have a predisposition for something or a talent, then you have to pursue it whatever it takes. But the truth is, sometimes it's not as obvious. Sometimes it takes a little bit of self-exploration to really find it. Take my brother Ivan, for example. Um, just about 8 months, he couldn't even draw a stick figure properly. He didn't have much of a drawing background at all, like every other person. But all he knew was that he really wanted to follow now my steps and become an artist. I told him it's going to require a lot of hard, consistent work, being persistent and focused on your goals. He took it to his heart. You can see his drawings there. That was his first week of trying to draw new things, but he really stuck with it. And he's been, ever since, he's been working consistently, spending all of his free time on perfecting his craft, working on his drawing, painting skills, and anatomy. And nowadays, 7 months later, he actually even surpassed my level of when I came to Centennial to study. Yeah. 7 months. So consistency and being focused on your goals is very important. I'm really proud of my brother. So nowadays, the actual magic of actually getting to your goals and getting successful in your field is, well, really about putting a lot of hard work. There is no magical formula, no special recipe. And sometimes people think that there is actually this special knowledge that they'll just get and they'll find the success, but it's just all about the hard work. I often envision the getting to your goals as walking up a winding staircase. It takes a lot of effort to go each and every step up, and you can't see really far around the bend, right? You don't know how soon you'll reach the second floor or the third floor. And sometimes when you give up, you might have given up just a couple steps before you actually reached your goal. And it actually always happens that way. So before giving up, you really have to ask yourself this question truthfully to yourself. Have I done everything in my power to achieve this goal? And if you have this, even the tiniest doubt that you might have not done everything quite yet, then you know what you have to do. You just have to push through this. And you'll get there. Don't be afraid to dream. Dream big. Dream always. Imagine yourself getting to the goal that you set in your head. How would you feel? You would feel pretty amazing, wouldn't you? Think about it and let it motivate you. I remember 10 years ago or more, I watched my first movie that was directed by Guillermo del Toro, Pan's Labyrinth, and I was really deeply moved by this movie. And I thought to myself, wow, that would be wonderful to work one day on the movie that is directed by this brilliant guy. And then a couple of years later, I was studying in Centennial College when Resident Evil came out, whatever was the latest part, and I saw all those creatures and I thought, oh my God, this is so cool. One day I want to work on some of those creatures for the next movie. You know, and at some point, the universe really turns you its good side. It stretches you the helping hand, and your dreams start coming true. I'm nowhere near achieving all I want to do in my life. Life is too exciting to have just one goal, and frankly speaking, I constantly add to my new goals, and some of the goals are changing. There is beauty in everything, in the darkness, in light, in the hard times, and of course in success. So whether I'm breathing the life through the silicone mask, or I'm learning a new skill or philosophy, I relish the journey. The journey is what is important, and I would say it's as important as the final goal. Be resilient, don't be rigid against life because it can break you. be the shape of water and flow with all that life has to offer. Thank you.